everybody, happy Friday. I was just sitting here making these super cute, totally not healthy, little, oh that's an ugly one. Let me show you a prettier one. Little hamburger cookies. So these were like my mom, when we were kids, used to make these for like every like neighborhood block party or like picnic that we would go to, you know, when you like have to take something to feed the crowd. We would always take these little hamburger cookies. They were like the kickoff to summer. Like I always knew it was summer when the hamburger cookies came out because it meant that we were going to parties, we were going to pool parties or whatever. So well, if you saw my story earlier, Grace and I have been potty training this week. So we've been like mostly in the house in just like Hawkeye. But a couple days ago, we started venturing out on like short trips. And so our first trip was just to go to the grocery store. We like went and got some more goldfish. And when we were in the goldfish aisle, I saw the vanilla wafers and the grasshopper cookies. So spoiler, that's what you use if you want to make little hamburger cookies. And then you just make frosting with powdered sugar and food coloring. So like, well, and like some milk. Zero health benefit other than good for the soul. And so I'm sitting here, I'm like watching a training video from my my coach in a leadership group that I'm in. And just kind of like refilling the tank a little bit this afternoon. Grace is napping. We've had like a long week. If you've ever potty trained a human, it's exhausting. And I found that I was reading this book called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. If you've been looking at my stories, I posted a couple of like the last quotes that I really liked from it this morning. And, you know, so I was an art major in college and I have like a lot of different things that I have access to in our house to be creative. And like I have a wheel, like a ceramics wheel that I love to throw on that's literally still in the wrapping from our move 2 years ago. I haven't gotten it out. We've just had like so many other things going on. I have like done plenty of other projects around the house that have helped me kind of like feed that fuel. And like, you know, I've written like that book that I've shared with you guys before. And so, you know, there's a lot of ways that I think creativity can come out. Even if you're not necessarily like a painter or whatever, or if you're not like sitting in your garage throwing for 6 hours a week or whatever, if you don't have the time anymore, maybe you have a baby and like life and you're building a business. Like that's what I've been really trying to focus on these past like few months and the past year really. And so I was reading this book, I was reading Big Magic, and it was so sort of comforting to me because she's so real about it. And you guys, like, we as humans are just creative beings. And for you to be creative, you don't have to do something that is this like artistic whatever. Like literally, I feel so rejuvenated after making these silly cookies this afternoon and just taking the time to like care for myself a little bit. And now I'm more excited to get back into like my work. And I could feel myself, like this happens to me all the time. And I'm trying to get better at identifying it and like getting ahead of it as opposed to just like being a victim to it. But I'll be in like a super good groove with work. I'll be in a routine. I will be like doing the work, blah, 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 getting the things done, checking the boxes, doing the stuff, you know? And then I'll feel myself kind of shut down. I will feel myself like resisting the work that I know I need to do to grow, that I know I need to do to help more people, to bring more people into my business, to bring more people into my team. And it almost always, if I just, and now hopefully I can take the time to identify it, I almost always hit that wall when I have let the creative sparks totally get washed out. When I'm not caring for my soul in that way. And again, sometimes it literally just means like taking the time to really like enjoy making dinner, like to let the stress of whatever you're supposed to do go away. Like, okay, for example, this is a perfect, actually, I don't even have to move my camera. You can see all the laundry that I am supposed to be doing, right? Like there's so many things I need to do today. And I could feel that none of it was going to bring me any kind of like joy or uplifting anything. And like, not that doing laundry ever gives anyone joy, but it doesn't always have to feel awful. You know, like you don't have to always feel like you're slugging it when you're doing the things you know you need to do. And for me, and so that's kind of why I wanted to pop in here, is just to ask you if maybe this is something you could realize in your own life. Like if you're feeling kind of weighed down, if you're feeling like, oh, you want to be further along in something, you want to be moving forward in some other area, but you're not sure what's holding you back. If you feel like you're holding yourself back in some way that like you cannot put your finger on, I really encourage you to just stop and think about, is there something you can do to just let out a little bit of energy? And not even let out energy. It's, to me, it's like letting in the energy. Like for me to just exhale and be like, I'm going to enjoy making some cookies. Like I can feel really good about that. I can know that I'm going to bring some other people joy, giving them away to them. Yes, I already ate too, so that brought me joy. But what can you do to fill yourself up in a way that has nothing to do with the things you're supposed to do? The work will be there. It will all still be there. And it's also not going to crumble and fall away. Like I think we give ourselves too much credit. We put ourselves on these pedestals of only our own minds making, and we think that the world is going to fall apart if we get off of social media, if we put our phones away, if we don't reply to messages, if we don't respond to text messages, if we don't answer the phone when somebody calls. Like you do not have to be beholden to anybody else in a way that is not like filling to you. So if you're finding that all of those interactions feel draining, I really encourage you to think about what you can do to refill, okay? Because it matters, it's important. And again, to be creative, to let that creative energy and just like the flow, like what gets you in that place where you lose track of time? What are you doing when you will have 45 minutes or 2 hours go by and you'll be like, oh my gosh, how'd that happen? What is that for you? And it might not be the same as it is for anybody else. It doesn't matter. It's not for them. It's just for you. Okay. So we're heading into the weekend. We're heading into a time where you probably don't have to go to work this weekend. If you do, hopefully you still get like a little bit more flexibility one of the days. But I just encourage you to think about how can you fill yourself up so that you have taken in that energy to move forward in the coming week and in the coming months and in the coming years and whatever. Because if we're not taking care of ourselves and if we're not really taking care and cultivating our souls and the things that like, just even if it's silly like this, I don't know, some of you have hopped on, you might not have seen these at the beginning. Even if it's a silly little hamburger cookie, you guys, okay? What can you do today to fill you up and get that creativity flowing, all right? Because it matters. And you're worth it. You're worth the little bit of time that it takes to refill. Like that took me 30 minutes and I feel so much more rejuvenated than I did when I started. So I hope you guys have a great Friday, a great weekend, kick off to summer. Today is the summer solstice. We officially in the best season of them all, you guys. So I hope you guys can get some pool time in or whatever makes you happy this weekend. All right.